Yeah.
One evening in 1874, 6 men sat around to discuss their memories of Bank Street. One of the men remembered how, as a boy, one of the houses was completely obscured by a huge fig tree. Another remembered how, on market days, the street was lined bumper to bumper with carts. These memories were written down by Robert Eden Leader in this book, Reminiscences of Old Sheffield, published in 1875. It was published on Bank Street. This is just one of the sources that I've used in a project on the history of Bank Street. In this, I've been helped by the University of Sheffield, Sheffield Archives and Local Studies Library, and 7 history master's students. Together, we've tried to reconstruct who lived in these Bank Street buildings, the buildings which now house Bank Street Art. The first record of these buildings is actually in a deed that's housed at BSA. It's a deed of 1791, and it records the transfer of a plot of land in an orchard from John Shaw. The first mapping of the street was in 1797, so between 1791 and 1797, buildings went up along Bank Street. One of the men in that conversation in 1874 commented how completely workshops in this street have now given place to lawyers' offices. This was true up to a point. By the mid-19th century, these buildings housed assuredly middle-class occupations and professions. One of the exemplars of that change was William Jackson. Jackson was a surgeon, one of the 2 founding surgeons of the Sheffield Medical School. He was also a founder member of the Royal College of Surgeons, so he was an important man both locally and nationally. As a social historian and a historian of gender, I'm as interested in the women, the other workers, the families, as I am in men such as William Jackson, though. One of the most interesting findings for me from this history project has been discovering some of the female-only, female-headed households in Bank Street in the second half of the 19th century. Many of these women were office cleaners, so they cleaned these offices. They were the first up in the morning and probably the last out at night. They made these buildings work. We've tried in this project to account for the whole range of people who lived and worked in these Bank Street buildings, and we now have a fairly comprehensive database of the residents from 1791 up to the present. You can find out more about who lived and worked in Bank Street on the web pages. You can also come and consult the archive that we've assembled at BSA, and you can learn most about the history of Bank Street in the book that's published from the project. History is never complete, of course, but we hope that you learn from and enjoy some of the threads that we've pulled and woven together so far.